Gwen, when the time comes, we're all ready to go.
I'm going to wait one more minute to start because I think people are still trickling in. Okay, good afternoon. We're going to call Administration and Finance to order for the City of Missoula City Council. It is December 8th, 2021. And we are still having virtual meetings. We have the information posted if you'd like to participate and give public comment. You can always go to our City of Missoula website and go to the meetings and agenda page, find this meeting and find the link to click on to join virtually. You can also always leave us a voicemail. Our phone number is 406-552-6012, and you can email us. The email address is council@ci.missoula.mt.us. So Lisa, I assume we are streaming. We're on. Great. We're up and running. And if you could please do roll call for attendance.
All right, we are. Stacy Anderson. Looks like Stacy must be out. Mirta Becerra.
Present.
John Contos.
He's absent today.
Oh, thank you. Heather Harp.
Here.
Jordan Hess.
Present.
Gwen Jones.
Present.
Julie Merritt.
Present.
Jesse Ramos. Looks like Jesse is out today. Amber Sherrill.
Present.
Sandra Vasica. Looks like Sandra's out. Brian Von Losberg. Looks like he's absent. And Heidi West.
Present.
All right, so that means we have 2, 4, 5, 6 members present, and someone just joined. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Ramos just joined, so he is here.
Right.
All right.
Thank you, Lisa. I believe we do have a quorum. We have minutes from December 1st, 2021. Were there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, those will stand approved, and I will call for public comment on items not on the agenda. If anyone wants to raise their hand and comment, and the attendees, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing any raised hands, so we will continue on with our agenda. Under committee business, we have 3 items, but I think I will take item 3.3, the one at the end of the agenda, first, because we have the mayor here and our nominee for the Chief Operations Officer is zooming in. So why don't we use their time wisely, if that's all right with you. John and Eric, do you want to go ahead?
You bet. Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, council members. I'm delighted today to bring forward the confirmation of Eric Holstrom as our Chief Operations Officer for the City of Missoula. Eric comes to us from the Department of Natural Resources in Minneapolis, Minnesota, working for the state of Minnesota, and his experience is broad and deep. We had a thorough and thoughtful search, great applicants, and great conversations with those applicants, and Eric impressed in a number of ways. And for me in particular, I think his approach to being a servant leader, that is someone who is very committed to public service, as well as to supporting his team. The internal services that Eric will lead are critical to the day-to-day operations of the city of Missoula, and our ability to serve the folks that we swore to. And he is very well equipped to do that work. He is interested in innovation and effectiveness and service delivery. And further, like all leaders at the city of Missoula, he is not afraid to get his hands dirty. And we are an organization that certainly requires administration and executive maneuvering, but all of us are doing some heavy lifting once in a while, and Eric is he's ready for that. So with that, I'm more than happy to bring you this appointment for confirmation. He fills out a really excellent team that is serving you and our community daily. He will build capacity. He will relieve some tension in the system, and find new ways for us to do what we do better.
Thank you for that. And I would add also, I, as ANF chair, sat on the interviewing committee. We did have some great applicants, and I appreciate people's energy and time interviewing them and people who came to be interviewed. I think Eric is definitely my choice. He is a strong candidate. He's got a legal background. He's an attorney, and he's not only practiced law, but then in the public sector has worked at both federal and state level government. And I'm excited that he wants to come down to local government where we really get stuff done, because this is where it all happens.
And as Ms. Jones knows, we do have a demerit if you have a JD, but Eric was able to overcome that as well.
I welcome my fellow attorneys into the circle anytime. Yeah, what I was most impressed with is he understands the value and the importance of strategic plans, and not only having that plan, but then figuring out how to implement that plan and how to use the metrics and measurements to see how you're doing in implementing that plan. It sounds pretty wonky after a while, but it's really, really important. And that's how, with a city our size or a big entity, you really move things forward and have vision and execute that vision. And he's worked a lot with those types of tools. So that's great experience to bring to this. Are there any, Mr. Holstrom, would you like to give a comment, or otherwise we can have questions or comments from council? But Eric, to you.
I just make sure that you can hear me.
You can.
But yes, thank you very much. I'm happy to join today virtually. I'm excited to be joining in person in the near future, and it's a really gratifying process to go through the search. It sort of exemplified the strength of the team that I'm going to be fortunate to join. So we're very excited. Thank you.
Thanks. Were there any questions from council to the mayor or to Mr. Holstrom? Ms. Harp.
Thanks, Gwen. Dale and the mayor, I'm wondering if you could just speak to the value of what this position brings to the table and how that's going to help the overall organization and move us forward.
Dale, I've yammered. If you'd like to fill in the blanks.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Just to provide a little more specificity on what the position does, the COO is going to be over the area of our internal services that I consider, and part of our central services strategic plan considers business tools and information. So it is departments such as finance and technology, facilities, fleet, legislative services, those departments where it's really charged with those business tools and information that not only our departments use, but how we report things to the general public as well. And contrasting that with our newly hired Chief Human Resource Officer, whose job is people. And our staffs. So in addition to that, Eric and Angela's charge is implementing the organizational excellence pillar of our strategic plan. And the objectives of that are shown in our plan and in the mayor's 2022 priorities are there. In particularly is that results management that's been alluded to initiative that we started a couple of years ago, and we're working on implementing those technologies today. But it is that outcome reporting, measuring, using non-financial indicators and key performance indicators to report how we're doing in our various services and activities.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you for that. Jordan.
Thanks. I've participated in a number of these searches for senior level management positions, and I did not participate in this one, but I can attest to those being a robust, thorough process that is surely excruciating for someone like Eric to go through, but that results in us getting the best of the best talent. I'd like to make the recommended motion, and I'd just like to welcome you, Eric, and I look forward to working with you.
Great, thank you. That motion is on the floor. Are there any other comments or questions from council? Seeing none, any comments from the public on this motion? Seeing none, we will have a roll call vote. Lisa?
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Heather Harp,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Julie Merritt,
Yes.
Jesse Ramos,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Heidi West.
Yes.
So that is unanimous for everyone in attendance.
Thank you. That will go on to the consent agenda. Anything else, Mayor, Dale, Eric?
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.
Welcome to the city of Missoula, Eric, and we will see you next week, it sounds like sometime.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right, going on to our next agenda item, we'll just go back to our regular agenda, which item 3.1 is the city council meeting schedule for 2022. And Marty, are you here to speak to that today? I'm not seeing Marty, but I can speak to it because Marty and I worked on it. I hope you all had a chance to look at it. So, in fact, let me pull it up just so that I am, Lisa, are you able to post the schedule?
If you can send it to me, I can post it. I haven't received a copy of it yet. Oh, you know what? Hang on. It's with the
It's
attachments,
attached.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes. Give me just a second here and I will post it.
it's page 3 of the attachments. And if you could
Page
post
3,
it, I'd
okay.
appreciate it. And I will just,
thing.
while you're doing that, I'll just speak to the thought process on this. So Marty and I went through, and if you've noted, we've got the dates denoted when we will not have council meetings. And we try, when we do not have a council meeting, to not have committee meetings, but sometimes we have to have committee meetings. So there's flexibility there. But my thought process was, I feel like periodically we have an exceptionally light meeting where we really don't have any public hearings, and we're having staff come in to put on the meeting, and we also have to show up. And I think it works most of the dates as they fall. About every month or so, we have a 1-week break. And I think we do better when we have a 1-week break too. When it's 8 straight weeks of meetings, it's a long time. And I think we're just fresher. Oh, there she is. Hi, Marty. I'm just giving, you're muted still.
Sorry, I was in another meeting.
That's fine. I'm just talking through it a little bit and then see what else you need to add on. So anyway, as you can see, just about every month or so, we have a meeting off, and a couple of items of note. April, so we have, in March, we take MCPS, the school district has a spring break, and we always take that off to parallel that or to mirror it. April does not really have a holiday, but Marty and I thought the end of April is a good time to have a break. Plus it's Administrative Assistance Day, I believe, in there. And that gives us a breather in April. And then again in August, we took the 5th Monday in August and flipped it to the 1st Monday because we are in budget session. It's a lot of meetings in the summer, and we're working on the budget, and right around the 1st of August is when we're then waiting for the Department of Revenue numbers, and it's a good time to take a breather, and people tend to schedule vacations then. So they go on a vacation, and then we have higher attendance on the surrounding meetings. And then we do not take the last Monday in August off because we are then also getting Labor Day off. So I hope that makes sense. I just rambled for a little bit, but the bottom line is the goal is every 4 or 5 weeks to try and have a meeting off because it saves on staff time, gives us a breather. Everybody can breathe a little bit. So Marty, did you have anything else to add to that? I just jumped in.
Oh, thank you very much, Gwen. I really appreciate that. So one of the reasons why we're recommending a meeting on December 19th next year. So we're doing 3 meetings in December. This year, we're only doing 2. But one of the main reasons is that Christmas Day falls on a Sunday, and so does New Year's Day. And so that creates a situation of city clerk nirvana of 3 weeks with no meeting. So if we don't meet the 19th, that really creates a situation with 4 weeks with no meeting. And that's a little difficult to manage projects around. So we are recommending to have 3 meetings next December rather than 2. And I think Gwen covered everything else that I would have mentioned. So.
Great, thank you. So questions on this, Julie?
Not that it's going to affect me, but for clarity's sake, looking at the calendar that is attached to the referral, there are notations in the month of November on the 8th and the 11th on the calendar, and those don't have corresponding days with no meetings. So I'm just for the sake of clarity.
I think, Marty, are those
Explain
days,
what that means?
are those days that the city offices are closed? Marty?
You have the 8th and the 11th of November.
You're muted, Marty.
The 8th and the 11th of November are holidays.
So doesn't necessarily correspond to our meeting days, but those are days that.
No,
This
they are holidays. And so, for example, we wouldn't have referrals on the 11th. We wouldn't have an agenda we wouldn't produce the agenda on the 11th. We would produce it on the 10th. So it's more for internal planning for us. Often staff are uploading documents on Tuesdays for your meetings on Wednesdays. That isn't going to happen on the 8th of November. No, nobody's going to be here to do that. So those are mostly internal dates to note for staff more than council in terms of your meeting schedule.
Yeah, so for the public, just for clarity of understanding, it seems like that calendar seems to be some mixed messages, because those are the only like outside holidays that you have marked. I don't know. It's I would suggest maybe there's some clarification for the public.
Thanks, Julie. So in other words, we need a calendar that says no council meetings, but then there's a corresponding calendar that says holidays when city offices are closed. Got it. Okay.
And currently on your website, we don't post a calendar, Julie. We don't actually have a calendar tool or a widget. So we list the dates when you're not scheduled, and I added the dates when you are scheduled. So we usually post the text because we don't have the tool of calendar on the website.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that this referral is public and it could potentially be confusing.
In other words, we don't want people to think that these days when we don't have city council meetings that the city offices are closed also, because they're not. Some days they are if it's a holiday, but some days they aren't based on our schedule. Okay. Any other questions on this proposed schedule for next year? If not, then I'm looking for a motion. Ms. West.
I'm happy to make the motion, but just had a really quick question. I assume I can't find the Missoula County Public School calendar for, I guess, the 2022-2023 school year yet, and I assume it's just not available yet.
I found it, and
You
that's
found
why
it?
spring break is on that day.
Yeah.
Both Gwen and I found it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for this year. Yeah, I was talking for next school year.
We found for next year.
Okay, sweet.
They
We
set
covered the
them-
base.
Yeah, they set
then-
them quite a bit in advance, actually. I think it's just a question of finding them, but I was able to find them.
Then I definitely want to make the motion.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That motion is in order. Are there any other comments? Sandra?
Sorry, I was a little late to this. There are no amendments, right?
Currently no amendments. on
Okay,
the
all
floor.
right, that's fine.
Great. And I think as it is scheduled, we are going with a full week off at Thanksgiving. That will be the honorary Sandra Vasika week off every year. Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
It's just the right thing to do based on last year. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments or questions from anyone on this item? No amendments? All good? Okay, I will call for public comment. I might have done that already. I don't see any public comment. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Heather Harp. Let's see.
I,
You know,
not sure.
it looks like she's still in the meeting. I'll just come back to her. No problem.
Okay,
Jordan
thank you.
Hess,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Julie Merritt,
Yes.
Jesse Ramos,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Sandra Vasica,
Yes.
Heidi West,
Yes.
and Heather Harp.
She must have stepped away, but I believe even without her vote, we still have a quorum. And
Yes, that
okay.
would be okay, perfect.
Thank
So-
you.
All right, so that's 8 yeses and 0 no's.
Okay, so that is unanimous, and we'll go on to the consent agenda and mark your calendars accordingly. The final item we have is 3.2, the City Council Food Policy Advisory Board bylaws. And Marty, are you also presenting on this? And you're muted.
I should just keep my Zoom screen up, shouldn't I? Yes, so the city council and the county commissioners created a food policy advisory committee that works on food security and food issues in the county. And when the county has approved, the county commissioners have approved the bylaws for this board, and the county attorney has reviewed them. And so now they're before council to approve their bylaws.
Thank you. I had a chance to read through them, and they look fine to me. I didn't see any issues. Heidi, do you sit on this board? Did you want to comment?
I do, and I will make a quick comment. I just I had a conversation with Amber before this meeting and wanted to clarify something just for the record. When you read who appoints which seats, it's a little unclear what CFAC's role is if you're just looking at that one particular paragraph. I think it's on page 2. Let me pull it up. Scroll back up to page 2. And I just wanted to clarify, I think that we could clean up the language a little bit next year on some cleanup. Right now, obviously, the county commissioners have already approved this, and that would just get messy. It says that 1 member is appointed by the mayor, 2 by council, 3 by the commission, and 1 by the Community Food and Agriculture Coalition, which unless you read further on down and read all about the roles and responsibilities of the Community Food and Agriculture Coalition, could be interpreted that they just approve someone from somewhere. But they are that 7th member on the committee. And I just wanted to get that on the record, just so everyone understands that.
Okay,
Does that
thank you.
Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, that does. And I think you're right, since this is already in process, to just put a pin in it and do a little cleanup next year if need be. Ms. Sherrill?
Yeah, thanks, Heidi. And I think the intent is kind of obvious here, but just some of the language and my concern was mainly around the fact that, when there's a new iteration of this committee, when Heidi and John and so on are on this committee in years, are not on this committee in years to come, that we don't need to be searching through to understand the meaning of some of the bylaws and who appoints who. So I'm totally comfortable with this being a cleanup measure next year, because I think the committee's intent is clear and understood.
Thank you.
I'm happy to make the motion, I guess, too.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. That motion is in order. Are there any other questions from council? Seeing none, I will call for public comment. Seeing no hands raised in the attendees for public comment. Any other thoughts or questions from council regarding these bylaws? All right, seeing none, we will have a roll call vote, Lisa.
Mirta Becerra,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Julie Merritt,
Yes.
Jesse Ramos,
Yes.
Amber Sherrill,
Yes.
Sandra Vazika,
Yes.
Heidi West.
Yes.
So that is unanimous for all in attendance.
Wonderful. Thank you. That will go into the consent agenda, and let the record reflect that Ms. Anderson has joined us. And we will now be adjourned. That was a quick joining. Thank you very much, everyone.